Hey guys, it's Michelle. So, I've been meaning to make this video for a while. Um, kind of wanted to talk about why I got fat. So, yeah, growing up, I was never a skinny kid. I think I don't know, I thought that looking back, I think that I was pretty average, but my mom always was kind of like, stop eating and don't eat that. And then I remember in sixth grade, pretty sure it was sixth grade, I hit 100 pounds. And, and my mom was like, oh, you're going to Gloria Stevens. I don't know how widespread those used to be, but they were like an exercise gym just for women. So, yeah, so sixth grade, I started with my gym memberships, basically. And I mean, my mom, she wasn't like mean about it or anything. She was concerned and stuff. And so, but yeah, it's funny. I do look back on pictures and I'm like, I was not heavy there. That was not heavy. That's like normal. So, anyways, so I guess like in high school, I was probably about a size 12, just to give you guys a frame of reference. And then in college, I was probably about a 14. Um, and I stayed right around there. Um, and then when I was 24, I started to date this guy. He was awesome. His name was Merlin, and I know that's a really weird name, and I almost didn't date him because he had a very strange name. Um, and I had met him I believe, through the personal ads. I think I had an ad and I had an ad and he responded to it and it was like a voicemail box. And I remember him being like, yeah, this is Merlin. And I was like, Merlin? I'm not gonna call him. So, anyways, I was like, all right, I'll give this guy a chance. And yeah, he was definitely different. He was very happy-go-lucky. We had a lot of fun together. We had a really good time. We got along great. Like, we never argued, never, not ever once. Um, yeah, it was really great. And then one day, that all changed. I came home from work, and at this point, we were living together. Let's see, hold that thought. It's getting very hot. I gotta put the ceiling fan on. And I'm sitting on a blanket, so I'll move this blanket out of the way so I'm not sitting on this blanket. Um, okay. So, okay, there, now I'm comfy again. I'll try not to get that fan in there so it's not too annoying. Okay. Um, so, I came home from work one day, and at this point we were living together. Mostly out of necessity because he had gotten laid off from a job and he was like between jobs for about, I don't know, maybe a month or just a few weeks. And I mean, we were both young and poor and living paycheck to paycheck, and so he couldn't afford to stay in his apartment. And so I said, well, come and move in with me. So anyway, so we were living together, and things were going fine and great. And he had given me a ring, and I don't know. I think it was somewhere between a promise ring and an engagement ring. Um, so yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I was all excited about it, but yeah, it was somewhere between those two. Um, so it was one day I come home from work and he was home, and that was a change because he usually didn't get home until later. And I was excited to see him, and I could tell that there was something wrong. Something was off. And so I sat down on the couch next to him and I said, what's wrong, babe? And so he's like, I think other people can hear what I'm thinking. And yeah, that kind of hit me like a big brick. And I mean, I really didn't know what to say. And I said, well, honey, nobody can hear your thoughts but you. mind you, I really thought that that was very strange that he was saying this, and I was like, what is going on here? Well, turns out that Merlin was schizophrenic, and I never knew it. He had been on medication the whole time that we were dating. He had been on it for years, and apparently at some point while we were dating, he stopped taking his meds. And and I think that that happened because I think he was embarrassed. He drove truck for a living, and so I was in his truck one day, and I on the floor there was this box, and there was just like a bunch of stuff in it, and I saw there was like some prescription bottles, and I had never seen prescription bottles, him have any. So I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I reached down to go grab it, and he like grabbed it out of my hand, and he's like, "It's nothing. It's I don't know. I think he said it's like I don't know, some like Valium or something that like everybody was on at the time." And I was like, "Whoa, okay, whatever." But he seemed very um embarrassed about it, and like he didn't want me to see it. So I don't remember how long before this was that this happened, but it definitely took place prior to that. And so that might have been what. Wow, I just kind of really just thought about that now. All right, anyways, so yeah, so he said that he thought that somebody could, other people could hear his thoughts. And he stayed up that whole night, and the next day I brought him to the emergency room at his request. And when it was our turn to go in and see a nurse, and she was asking what was going on, he said that he was having thoughts of suicide. And I had no idea, and this was the first that I was hearing it as he's telling this nurse. And so yeah, pretty much I was very freaked out. So anyways, I'm not going to go into like all the details, but 2 weeks later he committed suicide. He shot himself with a shotgun in my apartment when I was home. Thank God I never saw him, because he had the forethought to do it behind a locked door. And I pretty much knew what had happened, and so I definitely did not want to go busting into that room, because I knew that there was not going to be anything that I could do to help him at that point. So yeah, so that pretty much started for me the overeating. It was kind of it really brought home to me that bad things really do happen to good people, and bad things can happen to me and the people that I love. And it made me question my faith. I grew up Catholic, and in the Catholic faith, they say that if you commit suicide, that you can't go to heaven. So I really had a problem with God at that point, because Merlin had an illness that made him do this. And anyway, so and his family lived in Vermont. They used to be from around here, but they lived in Vermont at the time, and I believe that they still do. And they pretty much cut me right out of their life. They wouldn't talk to me. So that made it even more difficult, because I was very close to his parents. We used to go up there all the time. We would go up there. It was only like 2.5 hour drive from here. So we went up a lot of weekends and stayed over there, and Merlin would help them with projects around the house, and I would hang out with his mom and his brother. And so yeah, that was really rough. And yeah, and it was like, I don't know if it's the same thing now these days, that it's such quite a stigma as it was then. This was back in '94. And, you know, it was like nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about it with me. It was like, you know, the big elephant in the room. So, you know, and my mom and you know, my dad and I, we never really, I'm not gonna say we don't talk at all. It's just that we never really had that kind of a close relationship to chat about stuff. It's getting better now, though. Definitely in recent years, it's been definitely better. So, anyways, when my mom, you know, she was really the person that was the closest to me at the time, and there came a point where my mom was like, she didn't want to hear about it anymore. And so that was tough. So I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. So instead of getting it out and talking about it, I stuffed the big empty hole that Merlin left in me with food. You know, and I mean, I went to counseling a bunch of times, and you know, yeah, it helps, but you know, never brings him back. And I've always said that Merlin was the love of my life, and I think that I hope that at some point I can find someone that was like him. He really was a great guy, and I wish that I had been able to do something to help him. So, so that's it, guys. That is the reason that Michelle got fat. You know, I mean, it's like obesity is well, suicide survivors and suicide, that whole thing. It's a lot like obesity. You know, it's like no one really wants to talk about it, and it's really a shame. It's really a shame that there isn't more there's more help in this world for, you know, people who are mentally ill and who need help. And anyways, you know, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't. There's really no one to blame. You know, Merlin was on medication and he chose to stop taking it, and you know, I just didn't know how to help him. I didn't know how to help him, and yeah, so sorry, I don't mean to be all snotty and sniffly for you guys. Uh, yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. So thanks very much for watching, and I love you guys. You guys mean the world to me. Alright, I'm gonna stop crying here now. I'm gonna go blow my nose. Alright, guys, I love you. Take care and have a fantastic week. Bye.